Now that we are back at around 70k for Bitcoin, I thought let's talk about different altcoins that I personally look into for the foreseeable future. Now most of these are probably at like 500 million plus, so they aren't that small. Which means if you're here for garbage coins at like $1 million on market cap that can do a 20,000x, this is not the video for it. This is mostly based on logic and my own opinion, which is why I also don't link any of those down below. I'm a big believer for anything in the RWA sector or real world assets because those have a real use case. Most of the times when it comes to crypto, it's pretty pointless. It's there to make money and to get your money to invest into a project, but it doesn't do anything. For RWAs and DePIN, they have physical things, they have products that people use, and they have a long-term vision, so if you buy something and just hold it forever, it usually goes up quite a lot. Now, it would have been a lot better to buy this 1 year ago and hold it until now, but we didn't, and that's where we are here. So when it comes to the growing sector of RWA and people believing that the tokenization of things is going to be worth trillions of dollars, even bigger than the crypto market by itself, then anything in that category is going to grow regardless. Plus the projects that, like Checks over here for example, have a use case and active partners that invest billions of dollars and grow this day by day, they're going to be at a pretty good position over time. Buy something based on good fundamentals and a solid team behind it that is in the right sector, leave your money in there, do nothing at all ever, and then eventually sell it, take some money out. Like let's say you would have bought Bitcoin at 20k, now it's at 70. Sure, you can sell it, but what do you do with the money? You buy the next thing that hopefully goes up, to then eventually buy Bitcoin again, so you repeat the cycle. So you might as well skip every step in there and just hold it. Because just like old people say, time in the market beats timing the market. So don't pretend that you know anything or that any of us has any idea on what this one is going to do next. We know in the long run that it's probably going to be up here at 100k plus, but the line in between might look like that. So trying to sell and then buy and then sell and then buy doesn't make sense because it's unpredictable. Therefore, buy anything with good fundamentals, do nothing, it goes up, you want to take the money out, sell it, be happy. Which is why the next category we go into is DeFi or DEXs. And for that, mainly Solana as well as Avalanche with Joe. So we have Jupiter, Radium and Orca for anything based on Solana. And while some of them went up by 1600% and others are down 35%, the trading volume on Solana is bigger than on Ethereum. And with Solana growing and ETH being garbage because the fees are horrible, we're slowly getting closer to the part where Solana might eventually, hopefully, overtake ETH, which then means any of the DEXs behind it that people use are probably going to grow in value too. While this wobbling around isn't the best chart ever, this at least gives you the option to buy something that people use, that will be here for a long time, and that is part of a growing ecosystem without fluctuating too much. Like if you ever used Solana, you probably used Radium before, you probably traded meme coins a year ago and could have just bought this one instead and get the 10x. If we have triangles, then something has to be the foundation. And the foundation down here is useful and grows slowly but steadily, and everything else on top, like most of the meme coins, they are pretty garbage and worthless and purely based on hype. And if we remove the ADHD out of our brain and mind and think clearly, then we can take a larger chunk of our portfolio and throw it into things that will still be around in a year from now. When it comes to Avalanche, the main exchange for that is Joe. And with Avalanche and Avalanche Gaming growing slowly and steadily, this also becomes more useful over time. Now we're not at $1.13 anymore, we are down to like 30 cents. However, I'm pretty sure that this one is going to come back and will most likely grow above 117 million, especially when Avalanche as a whole grows, considering that it's number 13 overall. Now you cannot tell me that Cardano is worth more than Avalanche if Cardano is complete garbage, which then also means that the main DEXs for Avalanche are going to be worth a lot more than 170 mil. If Jupiter alone for Solana is 1.4 billion, then this can probably go back to all-time highs if not above. And while the chart looks kinda meh, if most things go back to their last all-time high and beyond, then this will be a 5x in here if not more. Now one of the downsides is that still a quarter of the entire token supply is not in circulation, which means whenever those token unlocks happens, price kinda goes down. But whenever people get bored of something and they sell it, that's when you should buy in order to go back there. And when everybody buys it, that's when you should sell, which is difficult because it goes against our instinct and human nature. Let's move into things that Alex Becker used to talk about and that he's working on, with the biggest one right now being Superverse. This was at $3.70, went down to 7 cents, which means if you would have bought here when the hype was there and then sold when it's dead, you would have lost like 98% of your money. But if you would have bought here instead and just held it until now, you would have gotten like a 15 to 20x. And Alex always says, believe in the team and invest into the people and the expertise they bring instead of the hype. Because long term, things are going to recover and then go well. Because they had now 3.5 years since March of 2021 in order to build something, which would then mean that it's probably going to be worth more than it was back then, with over 3 years of building and this whole time frame in between. And if we think that gaming overall is going to eventually catch on and be worth more than 18 billion in total, then Superverse is going to do well for sure. However, it is quite difficult because most crypto games suck really bad, and even if you try to play them, the market cap is usually far higher than it should be, considering that most of these games don't make any money yet. If we have one game like Off the Grid, or let's say maybe GTA 6 that is going to integrate blockchain technology, or we have something like Axie again, all of this is going to go a lot higher, but that's difficult as you have to wait and hope for something to happen, which might take a lot of time. So we can go back to things like launchpads, for example. If you remember Cedarfy from last Bullrun, something that Alex Becker used to be an advisor for and always talked about, they peaked at $16 per coin. Now it's at $1.20, went down a little. However, now that we're back to 70k Bitcoin and going hopefully above, I'm pretty sure Alex is going to make a lot more videos, remind people of this one again. And with crypto going up and people making money, they start their own projects, which then need a launchpad, which is right there, to then make the chart green and go up. Even earlier this year, back in March, this was at $5.50, and I would predict, hopefully, that it goes back there and above as they're getting stronger and stronger day by day. The next thing, something that Alex Becker talked about, well, you can tell when he talked about that. He talked about that at 10 cents, so it went up to 35. This right now is simply overvalued and based on hype, which is why the price is still up here. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next month this will not get mentioned once by anybody. It goes down to like 10 to 15 cents, then you can buy it. And then it gets mentioned again, and the price goes up to like 30, 40, 50 cents and above, as the idea is still good. Plus they aren't listed on any major exchange, and with them building something gaming based with the largest player identity protocol to drive the evolution of online experiences, sounds fancy enough, and price is most likely going to go up. Again, I probably wouldn't buy it now, because I would assume most people that bought in this range of like 30 cents and above and simply held the token are now waiting for this to go back up again so they can sell it. But when it goes down to like 10 to 15 cents, that's when I'm looking back into this and probably getting more, when the price is again based on quality instead of hype. And then lastly, just something that came to mind earlier, is Veracity, VRA. The idea of this, if I'm not mistaken, was to make viewing ads crypto based, or like verifying if people watch ads. And just like the top comment up there says, bearish people act like these huge companies just disappear when things are red, but it's just a market cycle. They also announced last month that they launched in the UAE under the Ministry of Economy's Next Gen FDI initiative. And because they position themselves with digital advertising, which sounds boring but makes billions and billions, YouTube alone made $31 billion last year with ad revenue. They're at least in a category where this one is almost an insult and does not reflect the quality that they built up over the past 5.5 years. Now, it's always difficult to buy anything that is down 90-something%, and that is super low market cap. This is purely conviction based, that it hopefully goes well long term. But I think over the next month, I will at least get a little bit of that, because let's say you would put in $1,000 and it goes to 2.5 billion, so 100x, and you would have 100,000. And here's more math. If you put in 1 million and then it does 1,000x, then you have 1 billion. Duh. And that's obviously what is going to happen. However, things can take forever. My favorite project from last Bullrun, don't buy this by the way, was Meta Hero. You can see this one is completely dead for the last 2.5 years. This had all the green flags. They had a great team, hype behind it, they had the quality, they had a useful product, and yet this is the current price. So even if everything is logical and makes sense and should go well, it can go to zero and make no money at all. And if something shouldn't go well because it's stupid, it can go insanely well. Let's go to the Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Eno website. I mean, quality, right? Like, wow. Yay, let's give them money. So yeah, crypto is difficult, but I would assume long term, to just recap everything, stuff that has quality and actually does something in life shall prevail, but everything that is garbage is simply going to die out and then be worthless. Hopefully. Or I'm completely wrong. I have no idea. I also just say random words. I'm a person on the screen. Nothing is linked down below. This is not financial advice. I don't care what you do with your money. I personally just buy things and then forget about it. Then in the future it's up and you can sell.